Liam married for love. He first encountered Harper at his aunt's apartment. Back in the late 90s, he was working as a driver for a small truck, shuttling goods back and forth from the warehouse. One day, Liam's mother asked him to run an errand, deliver a bag of groceries over to his ailing sister on the far side of town. Liam's aunt, bedridden and childless, relied on their help. He lugged the bag up to the 3rd floor and rang the bell. To his surprise, a young lady answered the door. She was not only attractive, but also unexpected, since he had anticipated seeing his aunt at the threshold. Shortly, his aunt appeared, inviting him inside. Grateful for his kindness, she brewed some tea and set out a plate of cookies. "Liam," she began warmly, "I've taken in a lodger, Harper. She's a student at the technical school, about a year from graduation. She's a lovely girl, not spoiled at all. She doesn't go out much, doesn't smoke. Plus, the rent money helps me out. It's a win-win. She has a father who swings by from the village, bringing fresh potatoes and carrots, which he shares with me. We get along quite well." As Liam listened, his eyes roamed, hoping Harper might make an appearance in the kitchen, but she stayed out of sight. Before leaving, he whispered to his aunt, "Can I visit again? I liked Harper. Maybe, chat with her about me." "Of course, sweetheart," she chuckled, closing the door behind him. "I'll talk to her about it." From that moment, Liam made it a routine to visit his aunt and her tenant, the enchanting Harper. Harper welcomed these visits from Liam, as their affection for each other blossomed simultaneously, while her academic pursuits were drawing to a close. Once Harper received her degree, the couple tied the knot. Liam brought Harper to his family's home, where they initially set up their life together, juggling work and domestic duties. A couple of months later, the passing of Liam's grandmother prompted them to make the switch to her apartment after sprucing it up a bit. This move made life considerably more manageable, since it's often better for young couples to have their own space. Soon, they welcomed a son into their family, with both sets of parents lending a helping hand with the newborn. Liam is utterly smitten with his wife, who not only supports him, but also occasionally assists in drumming up business for his freight-hauling service. Indeed, she has been his steadfast partner, pillar, and muse. As time rolled on, Liam continued his work with a logistics firm as a truck driver. His job often requires him to be away for extended periods. Meanwhile, Harper is employed too, and their son has now matured, having completed his education at a college specializing in construction. Once upon a time, Liam was cruising down the road with a hefty load when he noticed a woman clutching a bag, her arm outstretched, beckoning him to halt. Liam pulled over, fully aware that they were in a desolate spot, overcome with sympathy for the woman. Offering his assistance, he ushered her into the cab and drove off. Curiosity got the better of Liam as he questioned the woman. "Why in the world were you standing all alone on this desolate highway? The city is miles away, and the nearest village is nowhere near." The woman cast a fearful gaze upon Liam as she began to explain, "You see, I got into a row with a friend of mine. We don't reside together, just meet occasionally. We were on our way back from my mother's place when things turned sour. He berated me and unceremoniously kicked me out of his car, disappearing into the distance. His parting words were, 'You can make it on your own. Don't expect me to come back or search for me.' And that's how I ended up stranded on this road. It's absolutely terrifying out here. There aren't many cars passing by, and nightfall looms on the horizon." Concern etched on his face, Liam inquired about her residence and name, to which she responded, "I'm Gabriella, but you can call me Gabby. I reside in a village called Sosnovi, not too far from the city." Liam suddenly realized the proximity, just a mere 20 kilometers away from his hometown. They arrived in the village rather late, and Gabriella extended an invitation to Liam to her own abode. Initially he hesitated, but she insisted on expressing her gratitude somehow. "Come on in," she urged him. "At the very least, I can offer you a cup of tea. I've brought some strawberry jam made by my own mother." Gabriella, a stunning and alluring woman of 45, possessed an inviting figure and a pair of warm grey eyes that exuded kindness and amiability. She diligently prepared the tea and opened a jar of the homemade jam, then presented a tantalizing cherry naluka. "Liam, you simply must sample my renowned cherry naluka," she insisted. "Not only is it incredibly delicious, but it's also great for your health." Liam initially declined, but after a cup of tea, he figured a little naluka wouldn't hurt. He was planning to crash in the car anyway. It was already late, nowhere to head off to. Besides, it wasn't far to get home, but morning travel seemed wiser. Gabriella poured the liquor, laid out some snacks, and joined in for a sip. How they ended up in bed was beyond Liam's comprehension. Though he hadn't drunk much, he was thoroughly tipsy. Gabriella made the move, and he didn't turn her down. When morning came, Liam felt surprisingly great, rested and refreshed. Gabriella, acting as if the previous night was just a regular event, prepared him breakfast and served him. As Liam readied himself to leave, Gabriella embraced him warmly, whispering, "If you'll ever find yourself around here, drop by any time. I like your vibe, calm and kind-hearted. Thanks for the stay and everything else. I enjoyed it all. Goodbye," Liam replied with a smile. Liam departed, yet his thoughts lingered on Gabriella. He was quite taken with her. He justified to himself, "Her place is right along my route, no need for detours." Gabriella was a vibrant spirit, and her homemade naluka was superb, never giving him a hangover. A twinge of guilt pricked his conscience over his infidelity to his dedicated wife Harper. They shared a peaceful, harmonious life. True, there had been a few indiscretions during his travels, brief and unmentioned, and he clung to the hope that Harper would remain unaware this time as well. On his upcoming journey, Liam made a call to Gabriella, alerting her of his impending arrival. "Swing by, Liam. I'll be expecting you," she responded warmly. Liam made a pit stop at Gabriella's while on his way to a business trip, spending the night before continuing on his journey. Gabriella called him, expressing her longing and anticipation for his return. On his way back, Liam made another visit to Gabriella's. Thus, they embarked on a road romance, with Liam staying overnight at Gabriella's on both legs of the trip. Gabriella always welcomed him with joy, cooking and feeding him deliciously prepared pies. A year passed, and Liam completely neglected his family, consumed by his constant business trips, eagerly awaiting the next one. Harper sensed that something was amiss. "Liam, you're always itching to go on these trips. Don't you have a side woman somewhere? I've heard truckers do that. Why do you listen to gossip? The more trips I make, the more money I bring home. Don't you appreciate that?" Liam responded. Harper asked her husband to go to the store as she began making pancakes, realizing she was running out of sunflower oil. Liam, who always kept his phone close, absent-mindedly left it on the windowsill in the kitchen. After about 10 minutes, the screen lit up and a text message from Blake appeared. Harper couldn't help but read it, her heart racing. Who was this Blake her husband hadn't told her about? The message stated, "Liam, when will you return? I miss you, I love you, and I'm waiting." Harper slumped into a chair, trembling, barely able to comprehend what was happening. Liam hadn't returned yet. To calm herself, she took a few drops of a sedative. So this is what Blake is like, missing and waiting for him. Harper muttered to herself. My suspicions weren't in vain. I sense that he's changed, always longing to go on these trips. Who is this Blake, and how long has this been going on? As Liam entered the apartment and glanced at his wife, he immediately realized that something unpleasant had occurred. He quickly looked over at the windowsill and saw that he had forgotten his phone there, the screen still lit up. "Well, my dear husband, care to explain who this Blake Inniscarrett is, who loves and misses you?" Harper asked, anger seeping into her voice. "Harper, what on earth are you talking about? What happened? Who's Blake?" Liam stammered, buying some time to think of a way out of the situation. Upon receiving a text message that spoke volumes of how dearly he was missed, Liam was struck with the stark realization that evasion was no longer an option. He had to unveil the whole truth. Harper's response was volcanic. She yelled, cursed, and began to furiously pack his belongings, in a desperate attempt to clear his mind. Liam dashed out of the apartment. What now? He pondered, his mind racing. This is a mess. How could I have left my phone behind? Looks like I'll have to crash at Gabriella's place. She's always got my back. Harper, on the other hand, she'll never see past this. When Liam slipped back into the apartment, he began stuffing his essentials into a bag, which quickly turned into two, both reeking of valerian. Harper was a sight of despair, slouched on the couch, utterly dejected. Look, Harper, I'm really sorry. Maybe you're being a bit too severe. He ventured tentatively. Just go. I can't even look at you right now, nor do I wish to. I will never forgive you, Harper murmured, her voice low yet resolute. Liam stooped to retrieve the bags, only to be seized by a searing sensation in his left side, causing him to collapse. Without delay, Harper summoned an ambulance, which whisked him away to the hospital, where he remained for a span of 3 weeks. Alas, his left side had failed him, rendering both his arm and leg immobile. Once his health had improved, Liam was discharged, and Harper took him back home, just as she had done during his hospital stay. However, it must be acknowledged that she did so not out of ardent enthusiasm, but rather due to the discomfort she felt in front of their kin and acquaintances. Despite this, they still remained husband and wife. Liam found himself reliant upon his wife's assistance, for he was unable to navigate on his own 2 feet. He remained confined to the confines of their home for the duration of each day, his fervent hope that he would soon regain his mobility proving elusive. Without assistance, the task of adhering to his hourly medication regimen would be impossible. In this regard, Harper shouldered the responsibility, tending to his needs and ensuring he took his prescribed medicines in a timely manner. Meanwhile, Gabriella, who had not once reached out to him, had instead attempted to contact him at his workplace, only to be informed that he was confined to his abode. It was during Harper's absence, as she embarked on her daily toil, that Liam found himself confronted with a profound sense of awkwardness in the presence of his wife, who curtly limited her words to a mere yes or no. Indeed, Liam harbored profound regret over Gabriella's sudden appearance in his life, aware of the internal struggle his wife was grappling with as she endeavored to come to terms with this unwelcome intrusion. He knew Harper well enough to realize her capacity to withhold forgiveness. It is in light of this understanding that she took it upon herself to care for him, as there simply was no one else who could do so. However, to Liam's chagrin, it came to his attention that Harper had phoned Gabriella, apprising her of his plight, imploring her with these poignant words. "This is Liam's wife. He has lost the ability to walk, and I am uncertain whether he will ever fully recover. If you truly love him, I beseech you to come and collect him." Yet to his dismay, Gabriella retorted, "Why would I need him now?" before abruptly severing the connection. That's the ultimate test of love. Liam would give anything to turn back time to the moment he saw Gabriella on the road. He wishes he had just driven past, as he feels incredibly guilty in front of Harper. But alas, there is no turning back. Liam has made multiple attempts to talk to his wife, but she refuses to listen, retreating to her room and shutting the door behind her. Her silence tortures him, leaving him clueless on how to make amends. There seems to be no way out, for betrayal is not easily forgotten. Now Liam finds himself completely dependent on his wife. It's unclear whose burden is heavier, his wife's or his own, perpetually consumed by thoughts of the moment when he might finally regain his strength. Liam ponders, perhaps she's waiting for me to recover so she can kick me out of the apartment. Yet it might be more fitting if I were to leave on my own. I have come to fully comprehend my mistakes, but that only intensifies the pain. My wife is here beside me, but is she truly my wife or simply my caretaker? And will I ever rise again?